What is up, and welcome to Twin Dragon Podcast Show. We're your hosts. My name is Mike.
And I'm Bobby. The show will be about two young working professionals going through the craziness of life. We'll have fun conversations about current events and what's happening in our lives. So, why do you want to know more?
Well, if you're bored at home, eating, or just chilling, and want to listen to something new, you've come to the right place. Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Twin Dragon Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in and listening to us. And today we're going to be talking to you guys about traveling. I know a lot of people love traveling.
Yeah, I love traveling.
And we do too. So we're going to do an episode about traveling and, just share a bit about our travel experience, maybe offer some tips and advice if we have any. Hopefully we do. And where we've gone and where we want to go next. So let's take it away and ask this guy here, where exactly have we gone so far?
Well, together we've gone to Big Bend National Park. That was one of our first trips together. I think it was pretty fun.
Yeah, Big Bend. Big Bend is a national park in the U.S. in the southwest part of Texas, the great state of Texas.
Yes, it's I think it's very different from what I view Texas because I lived in San Antonio and in Austin, and I'm just used to seeing green and farms, but out there is just like kind of like desert.
Yeah, it's basically desert.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, just
big rocks.
Yeah, driving there, it was like you watch the scenery, like green, grass, and then it's like dead grass because it's like dry in Texas, and then it becomes like dirt, and then you see like thorns and cactus, and it's like, where are we? And also like Big Bend's like right next to Mexico.
Yeah, that was pretty surprising for me to see. It was just so close and not gated.
Yeah, that part there wasn't like any sort of like border patrol or whatever. It was just like the Rio Grande cutting through, and it's like, oh look, it's Mexico on the other side.
Basically. And
I think the view was great. It was really nice just to see nature. And also like it was what do you call it, like it was super dark at night, like there was no lights obviously because it's like in the middle of like a desert, and we were like driving to inside the park, and we were like we turned off the car lights, there's like no other cars and it's like no other light, and we were like afraid to even get out the car and just look outside.
Yeah, because you never know what's outside the car.
Because it was like pitch black, and yeah, it was pretty creepy a bit, but we're like, we gotta get outside, and then because we gotta see the stars. There was like no light pollution, nobody there, and it was just you, nature, and the sky and the stars.
Yeah, I think that was pretty nice to see. Yeah, I think I've never seen that many stars, and I guess the constellation in that kind of way.
Yeah, definitely worth it. I think Big Bend, driving to Big Bend, at least from like East Texas, took like what? It was like
6 hours?
6 hours? It was 6 hours?
I think so.
Something like that. It was still a pretty long drive.
It was a long drive.
But I think you can fly there too, right?
Yeah, you fly to El Paso and then you drive down probably like
an hour or 2 hours?
Maybe 2 hours. I'm not too sure, yeah.
You still gotta drive.
Yeah, the time gets really cut down.
But you still gotta drive. I don't know. I think both of them are good options. We also took like a hike to the highest peak in Big Bend. Man, that was like a 7-hour journey, dude.
Yeah. I think that really tested my body. I think the elevation was getting higher. It was hot. I guess it was somewhat hot, right?
It was kind of hot.
Yeah, it was spring break, so I guess it was kind of hot in Texas.
We had just come when like the cold front left, so it was warmer.
Yeah. But overall, I think the scenery was nice. I guess the whole experience was just nice in general. I think I would want to go again one day and just explore different parts of the park.
Yeah, because we missed the good view where it's like in the middle of like the climb up to the mountain or the top of the peak, and like we didn't take it because we were all tired. And then but if you walked a little further, like I think it was like 3 miles, you got to the point where you saw like this cliff, and then it just like spreads out open, and you can see like the I guess like the canyons or something, and like like Mexico and stuff on the other side, and it's like the best view in the whole park. But we didn't get to see that. But we did climb to the tallest point in the park, and I gotta say there was like no safety guardrails. It was just basically you, the rock, and nothing on the edge.
Yeah, yeah. I remember like it being, I think, pretty close to the edge. Like you had to kind of lean against the wall a little bit, not too much, but a lean. And then when climbing to the highest part, yeah, it was you're climbing,
You were climbing,
and a
and
lot of people, other people are climbing too.
you better take it slow because you don't want to trip and just fall off. But I saw we saw some people who were like, just sitting on the edge. I was like, dang, I do not want to get that close to the edge.
Yeah, yeah. I think people are taking a lot of risky photos. I know that Mike climbed to the highest peak once we got to the peak. There's like a little bit more climbing, but I was like, I'm out. I'm afraid of heights, but you can go.
He tapped out.
Even though it's just like right there, I was like, I can't go up there.
Yo, but the view was worth it though. The view was worth it. But everybody, do what you can, and yeah, so all good. I think Big Bend was a good thing. A lot of people don't know Texas has like a national park down in the south part, and then like our next trip was like, what was our next trip?
um,
I think yours. It was yours when you went to like New York or something, right?
yeah, I guess I went to New York to visit you, a few years back, and I think that was my first time experiencing New York, and I guess that was your first year in New York.
Yeah, I think
Living
that was
there.
my first year in New York. I went to New York like a couple years back, but I didn't remember much. But now I was like living in New York.
So yeah, I think that was really nice to experience snow in a New York setting, because it's like something that people see in the movies, and it was just nice. I know we went ice skating, and that was the first time for me to do.
I want to be crowded, in a crowded area.
Yeah, and I think just after that, I think this year I've gone so many times. It feels like I kind of lived there with you.
Because you basically were and living in my room. But yeah, I think New York is it's an interesting place. Everybody's like, oh, I want to be in the Big Apple. Young life experience, and yeah, there's a lot of perks. Like a lot of things to do, to see, cool buildings, good food. A lot of food choices. But coming from the south, we drive everywhere, and like when you're in New York, you ride the subway because driving actually takes longer, even though the subway also takes a decent amount of time because you have to wait for it, and it's crowded. There's a lot of homeless people. Subway station is dirty, and we recently found out that the subway stations don't have the cleanest air actually, and so you're breathing in pollution now.
I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, nobody's really surprised, but it's definitely a different sort of like, I guess like change in how you travel, and actually like it takes like to get 2 miles even on Manhattan takes like 30 something minutes.
That's so ridiculous.
I know, right? Because like here in like Texas, you go into your car and you drive like 2 miles. It takes like 2 minutes. But like everything on Manhattan just like takes so much longer.
Well, I think we're not saying that because we're lazy, but I think we're saying that because it just takes so much time, because there's so many stops and so many people, and well, I guess the blocks are pretty large, and I think that's why it kind of takes so long to get from one place to another.
Yeah, but also because the subway stops at like stops, like it has to make stops, so that also adds time, and people sometimes hold the door, and it get delayed because they keep opening and closing. But I guess like what I'm trying to say is like living in New York is different than traveling and visiting. Is what I learned basically. I wouldn't want to live in New York because of the transportation, but also because of how expensive it is. First of all, right? Like when you got there, you were probably like, dang, them prices of things.
Yeah, I think just also just It's really dirty. It's really dirty.
Smoke everywhere.
Smoke everywhere.
Weed everywhere.
Poop everywhere.
Yep.
It's not just animal poop.
Yeah, but it's a cool place to go and see different things. You know, like architecture, museums, plays, shows, and what you call it, food, and the skyline, cityscape, all that. Definitely worth going. Definitely cool. And but you know, actually living there is a different story.
Yeah, I think yeah. There's a lot of enjoyment, going to New York because I think that's where we saw the Harry Potter play,
Oh yeah, the what is
The
it?
Cursed
The
Child.
Cursed Child.
That was so good.
That worth the visual effects on point.
Yeah, and I think once the pandemic is over, I just cannot wait. At least to go see some other plays. I think for one, really want to see Dear Evan Hansen.
What is that?
Um, I'll Google it for you later.
All right, cool. Yeah, New York's definitely a place you want to check out if you get the chance. Where else have we gone? I think we went to like the next one was Maine, right?
Yeah, Maine was pretty cool. So that happened this past year as well in 2020. I think Maine was actually it was a Thanksgiving trip.
I can't remember what the park was called.
Um, Arcadia.
Acadia, there we go.
Yeah, kind of like space. It sounds like a spaceship.
Came in clutch with that.
Arcadia. Yeah, so we went to Arcadia National Park in Maine. And do you want to talk about it first?
Yeah, it was like a getaway from New York. You know, like we said, it was like dirty. You know, not a lot of nature aside from Central Park. Oh, we forgot to mention Central Park. Definitely worth going check it out. It's like the only big park, a lot of greenery area in Manhattan. But anyways, we were like, yeah, we want to get out of the city a little bit just to go back to nature. Have that clean air basically, and like get away from all that hustle and bustle of a city life. And so like during Thanksgiving we drove up from New York all the way to Maine. And yeah, Maine is apparently, we learned this, Maine is the safest state in the US. And yeah, it was in the fall, and man, I gotta say, driving up to Maine, we did it in one day, right?
We did it one day, yeah.
How long was the drive?
More than 6 hours.
Oh man, we got on this. We do a lot of driving, as you guys can tell, but
A lot of
we
driving.
also go to a lot of national parks, or try to. But yeah, when we were driving there, when it was like raining, cold, but we gotta say there was some thick fog, dude.
Yeah, it felt like even though you're in the fog, there was another fog passing by, and it looked like a human being. I was like,
What was that?
what was that? It was kind of scary.
Yeah, it's like those like sort of like horror movies kind
Yeah,
of deal.
I think something else that was scary was just that a lot of houses had like handles in their windows. I don't know what that meant. Like, was it like a tradition or something?
Maybe just to see it in the fog, possibly.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe, but I mean, you can also just turn on the light.
Yeah.
But like, since Maine was so safe, like people didn't even like close their curtains. Like literally, their house is just out and open.
Yeah, it was pretty strange.
I was like, dang, what is this place? It must be very safe or something. But yeah, like Acadia, like a lot of the trees lost their leaves and stuff, but it was still worth going because there were some trees that still had leaves, and we got to the point, to a part where there's like these small towns that look very almost like village like, and like very peaceful and like decorative a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we took some shots of the what you call it, like the shoreline, the water.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
Yeah, the national park is near the water, basically. It was so nice. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I've never been to, I guess, the East Coast and seen the water there.
Man, it was blue, and unlike Galveston, the Gulf. If y'all in Texas, y'all know what we're talking about. Some dirty water there.
But yeah, I think overall, we went through the park all within a few hours. Actually, Well, because we drove around the park.
Yeah, we didn't actually like walk around or well, we did do some hiking to like the shoreline in
Yeah, that was
park.
pretty nice too.
But we also drove around the park because a lot of people like kind of go, I don't know, hike or camp, but we wanted to see like sort of all the park, and so we kind of like drove through it and just looked at the scenery. And yeah, a lot of the trees were kind of like, uh, I guess the leaves fell off because it was winter, obviously, but it was still nice just to see, you know, the nature and stuff like that. And would recommend going during the fall when the leaves change color. That's probably the best
And when
time
there's
to
not a
go.
pandemic.
And when there's not a pandemic.
Because then you can eat the those crab, right?
Oh, yeah, the local, apparently the local restaurants, seafood restaurants are pretty good, I heard, but we didn't try it because
Yeah.
pandemic, obviously. But yeah, the fall foliage is a good time to go for Arcadia. But I think one thing that we lucked out on was because there was a pandemic, we got in for free.
Oh yeah, that was a really good benefit that the the park was all free.
Yeah, basically we didn't have to pay to drive into it, and apparently you had to pay for, you know, normal times. And we also went to like the peak, like a peak in Acadia.
Yeah, it's the highest peak basically in Arcadia.
Yeah, and you were like driving up, and
It was pretty scary.
yeah, his hands got all sweaty, and he was like, ah.
At the clutch of the wheel.
Yeah, don't want to look to the side. It was pretty high, yeah, for sure. But the view up there was really nice though.
Yeah, I think it kind of gave me Colorado vibes, just being able to go up there, but it wasn't as high.
Which
Um,
we'll talk about in the trip after this.
Yeah, and I think the trip was just overall peaceful. I think we did end up staying at the Airbnb. I think just to let you know where we stay. I think that's also helpful. A tip, you know, Airbnbs are sometimes cheaper than hotels, or hotels are actually cheaper than Airbnbs, vice versa. Just depending on where you go. And we ended up staying at a place that was really nice.
Yeah, I think we also stayed in an Airbnb in Big Bend as well.
We stayed in the trailer.
But that was also an Airbnb though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely worth looking into.
And that was
before.
also very accommodating. They had like showers as well and a kitchen that we can cook.
Yeah, you didn't have to like, you know, live in a tent or something. Yeah, so check out Airbnbs in the area. And yeah, the highest peak in Big Bend, as you can tell, we like going to the high places. Gave like a really nice bird eyes view of Acadia. So that was really really nice, and you know we got saw the water, the trees, the rocks, and I was like, wow, worth, yeah. And then you know winter break, our next trip during winter break, you know, because we always gotta be traveling. We hit up Colorado, That trip was the longest driving we ever took. It's like we're just like increasing the amount of driving for each trip.
I was surprised I was not sleepy. I was tired but not sleepy.
Yeah, because we can't have you falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. I think just in general, I enjoyed driving, but yeah, it was long. It was really long.
We had to.
But we did driving in 2
Yeah.
days parts.
Yeah, we broke it into 2 days. That was just too much driving. I think each day was like 8 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we drove across
Like,
states.
it was basically a work day.
Basically, but we drove through like states. We went to like Oklahoma, New Mexico.
Yeah, we did. New
and then,
Mexico.
And then we went to Colorado. And then yeah, we went to the mountain. I forgot what mountain. What was that mountain? There's like a mountain, a town in the mountain ranges, and then we
Oh, Glenwood, Colorado.
for the hot springs.
Yeah, for the hot springs.
Yeah.
Man, the hot springs were pretty nice.
Yeah.
I never been to one, but I mean, I never been to one prior to that, but it was really nice. Our bodies were just like jelly after that. And
Yeah,
we just
because it was like a natural hot spring, and we were in the magnesium one, and boy, did it relax us. Like,
you just wanted to take a nap afterwards.
yeah, my body just felt like jello, like so loose, like relaxed.
Yeah, I see now why people go. I think I would want to go again. I would want to own a hot spring.
You want to own the hot spring. Dang. Yeah, and then I think one thing we learned was that we rented a car from Texas all the way and drove all the way to Colorado in the winter.
Oh
I
man.
think one thing to keep in mind is that you want to what is it called? Change the what is it? The fluids,
Yeah, the windshield fluids.
the windshield fluids, because I mean obviously it is cold in Colorado, and we were driving in a snowstorm in the mountain ranges, and we had like Texas windshield
Yeah, and that just
liquid.
froze over, and we went on a 3 hour drive that ended up taking 4 hour drive to the mountains, and everything froze, and we couldn't see multiple times, and we had to stop multiple times, and I was like, emergency lights.
Yeah, because like the what is it? The windshield fluids were frozen. It wouldn't come out, and then the windshield was like dirty with the ice and dirt on the road that they sprinkle so that the road didn't freeze over. And so we couldn't see in front of us, and it was snowing
Mm-hmm.
and dark, and we're like on the top of the mountain range, and we're trying to get to the house spring. But thankfully we made it, and yeah, we relaxed afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
That was some A+ driving, dude.
I know. I was very surprised that, I guess in a way, I kind of kept calm and was able to get through all. Well, I think first of all we had all 4 wheel drive, and I think that was helpful as well.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful. And I think like all season tires, you want some all season tires in the rental or the car you take. And
So yeah, I think I was very glad that we were able to have those 4 wheel drive, because I think we didn't really request that actually, but it was a feature that the car had.
yeah, I think it just came with them. We're lucky to have that.
It came clutch,
It
really
It
clutch.
did came clutch for sure. You want that when you're driving in winter weather, so you don't slide. And then we like went to like this like mountain thingy that was snowing. I forgot what that mountain thing was.
We went to Estes Park, and we were trying to go to Emerald Lake, which is yeah on a mountain, but it was during a snowstorm, and so when we tried going to the lake, everything was just covered in snow.
And there the tracks were like gone.
It was gone. Everyone was trying to look for it, but we couldn't go any further. We did have snow shoes, but we didn't have like spikes underneath our shoes, so we couldn't really get through like everyone else.
Yeah, because like if you don't have the spikes under your shoe, like it's basically like cleats, you'll like slip and slide.
Yeah, I was sliding.
Yeah.
And then make sure always to bring a beanie, because I didn't. I forgot my beanie, and my head was freezing,
His hair was frozen. His eyebrows were frozen.
burning. They were burning
Yeah,
actually,
right.
not frozen but burning.
Red. It was cold.
Um,
And then like the lake that there was a lake that we did see, and it was like frozen.
That
There
was pretty
ice
cool,
and-
yeah.
yeah, snow over it, and we saw it, and I was like, dang.
yeah, I think just seeing in the pictures, just in like social media, that you can still go during the winter, just to the mountain was pretty nice. I think that's what motivated me to go and visit, as well. Not just the lake that we went over, but Emerald Lake. I know I went there during the springtime. It was really gorgeous, really gorgeous.
Yeah. How was it compared to like the spring? Like since we went to winter and went in the winter, what was it like in the spring, and sort of like if you can like compare and contrast and maybe give some tips to the audience.
Well, I think the question I would want to ask you first before I compare it is just like, did you enjoy it during the winter time?
I think it was different in the winter because a lot of things were like dead and like everything was covered in snow, so you couldn't see like the natural beauty of the place, but you could see, what it looks like in the winter, like,
But you still enjoy the landscape, right?
yeah, because it was like sort of like almost like a winter wonderland kind of feel, because coming from a place that doesn't have a lot of snow most of the time, almost all the time basically, it gives a different sense. And also like when you see the mountain landscape covered in snow, there is this sort of like different sort of vibe, so to speak, that you get from it than when isn't covered in snow.
Yeah, I think I seeing it in the snow as well. I thought it was like really nice as well. But I think when it's spring, it's like a whole nother level. I think because things are sunny, everything's green. You see animals, and just the mountains. It's even way much beautiful. I think we only see not even half of what it could have been during the winter.
I'm sure it's probably crowded in the
Somewhat,
spring. In
yeah,
the spring.
somewhat. I don't remember it being like too crowded where we couldn't do anything or drive through things, but yeah, there was a lot of people. But I think Colorado was big enough for us just to go. But yeah, there I think when we went, there was kind of traffic just in general on the highway. But I think just to add on, the snow probably delayed a lot of things too.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine just the spring where there is no delay because of snow.
Yeah. So I think that was the last big trip we've gone on, and I think we're hoping to go to like Asia next year.
Yeah, I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, just to travel international, yo. We international, going international. Hopefully this podcast goes international. You know what I'm saying?
Basically.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I guess like, how do we decide where we go? Like, what do we look for?
I think just places we haven't gone and just places that we know that might. I think just really nice to visit. I think those are places that we both haven't gone to. A lot of things. Oh, I know for sure you've gone to places, and I've gone to places that you haven't gone. But I think basically have a list of things that where we kind of want to go.
Yeah, just like scenic places, but also interesting, like I don't know, like it has history, or there are sights to see and things to do that are just kind of unique to that place. We want to try to experience different things. Basically, pretty much how everybody kind of decides where they want to go.
Yeah.
And I think when we travel, I think you are kind of like a planner.
Yeah, I think. Well, for me, I need to. For me, I need to kind of like plan things. What we're doing and kind of like the timeline wise, or else we never. For me, I feel like we're never gonna get things done or pay things ahead of time. Like the rental car and the Airbnb or the hotel, or even further going on, maybe airplane ticket. We should buy the airplane tickets way ahead of advance before like prices increase. And so yeah, I do a lot of research and just in terms and just in general planning, just to be organized. I'm for sure we don't do everything on the dot, but I'm open to the flexibility. I think just in terms of what we can do besides that. I think like the mountain thing, that was like we were planning to be there for a few hours maybe, but we ended up going back and we went to, where did we go? Oh yeah, we went to downtown.
We went to Boulder.
Boulder, yeah, and that was still kind of nice.
It was apparently.
And then I got my beanie finally.
Yeah, Boulder was interesting. It's like a college town.
Yeah, it's a college town and just somewhat more wealthier from what I saw.
Wealthier. A lot of people like go there to retire and stuff like that. It was a little nice, quiet town kind of feel. Yeah, I think it helps to to plan, definitely, to make sure things get done. Where we're going, instead of like end up wasting a lot of time deciding and figuring things out. Definitely, but I'm kind of like the guy who kind of just like either shows up or wings it. And because when I was traveling by myself, I kind of just like decide like a week ahead or maybe like a couple days ahead what I wanted to do, and then just went and sped through everything and just kind of did that. Unless it's like something like very logistical heavy, like you need to like book in advance, maybe I'll do that ahead of time. But I'm definitely not as detailed as you, because you like make spreadsheets and all that.
Yeah, I think. Well, they're still kind of beneficial. They're helpful, just to lay out those ideas and
makes you see things clearly and not miss things. Definitely. I guess like what kind of tips and hacks or advice do we have for our audience? I know we talked about the Airbnb. Definitely check those out before booking a hotel, because those are usually cheaper.
Yeah.
And also better experience because you can have like maybe a kitchen and stuff like that.
Well, I think for one, I think some of the benefits is that, sometimes your credit card pays for your insurance for your rental, and so that's nice.
Oh yeah, check that out. Look at your credit card, but most credit cards usually cover for like rental insurance. At least the one part of it. There's like another one that you have to like pay for like collateral damage to the other party.
Yeah, and I think maybe renting the car early in advance because that came out cheaper. I know we were planning to, there was many different options of like trying to get to Colorado, maybe flying there and then renting a car, but then it was like almost another 1,000 more than we could have paid, in in Texas.
Because like the rental cars near the airport are usually more expensive.
Yeah, and then yeah, I think probably go with big name brands of rental cars because I know we paid for a cheap car, not a cheap car, but not a well named brand in New York for a rental car. I don't know if it was. I guess in a way it was kind of a good plan, but they had like hidden fees. Um,
Yeah, I guess like yeah, kind of. Um, but yeah, I think it's still nicer to rent a car because like if something does happen, it's not your own car that you kind of have to fix. It's kind of the mentality of renting one, but if you really want to save money, I mean, driving your own car is probably the cheapest route to
yeah,
go.
yeah. I think just maybe knowing where you're going and where you're staying at. I think that really helped me as well. I think that's what helped me pick what I wanted to stay at in terms of Airbnb in Colorado. I made sure like the place was safe and okay to stay. And would you say that was pretty much okay, even though it's kind of a little far out from the main city?
Yeah, I think it was fine. It wasn't like too far. I know I stayed at like one time I was like in Japan. It was like we were like an hour from like the main part of the city. And yeah, it does factor into like, getting to places and, starting your tourist journey, but it's cheaper, so you're always gonna have to weigh like, how far do I want to live to save money, how close do I want to live to, and have to pay a little bit more like a premium. So it's kind of like personal preference, and that you have to figure out the balance. And I know there's another, I think, advice that I kind of just found or thought of. There are travel credit cards that you can apply to, and I think those, because you're gonna spend money anyways when you travel, so why not get some points and some money back from it by using that travel credit card. I know,
If
like,
you're at age, if you're at age,
if you're our age, I mean, like, I think most people are like over 18 when they travel.
yeah.
And if you're under 18, you're probably traveling with your parents anyways. But there are travel credit cards out there. I think one of them was the Wells Fargo. What is it called? Wells Fargo. I forgot the name, but it's like a Wells Fargo travel card. I think it was like some travel thing, and it was like the best one. No annual fees. There are like hotel ones too, and like airplane ones. Although I think the airplane ones are all only specific for one airline, so I think the Wells Fargo one's probably better overall. And like yeah, those are just some like hacks to save some money, get some money back, because everybody wants to travel. Oh, and what is it? Those dining cards, like credit cards that give points back when you dine out. That's another one to get because you're gonna eat out
Mm,
anyways too when you travel.
yeah.
So those to maximize, you know, cost saving.
Well, I think also even for us, we stayed at many hotels, and that's actually I collected points, and I already have one night free, and we only stayed at probably like two or three different hotels, and that already saved me for one night.
Yeah, there's probably like a whole bunch of like resources out there, like people like doing like travel hacking and stuff like that. They probably are way more knowledgeable than us, so there's definitely resources out there if you want to like save money. But these are just some of the things that we've come across and sort of learned throughout our process. I guess like just to close off is like we already kind of talked about where we're gonna go our next big trip. To Asia, specifically Japan and South Korea. But what other trips do we kind of have planned going forward?
Um, well, I don't know. I think some of them probably are like Seattle.
Yeah, actually, I think there's definitely like some trips that are gonna be in the works later in the year because yours truly, your boy Mike here, applying to the next part of the career, like, it's called residency for those of you who don't know, but for those of you who do, just a quick, I guess, like, what is it called? Like, definition of what residency is. Basically like post medical school training. And so I'll be applying, and they're gonna have like interviews. Hopefully I get some. And hopefully they'll also be in person, not like on Zoom. And we're gonna be traveling, or I'm gonna be traveling. Bobby here might be tagging along too, and we're gonna be going to all different places that I'm applying to possibly.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of benefit. Hopefully we can take advantage of like those I guess interviews and make it into a trip. I think that would be great, instead of like, oh man, I had to go here and leave and so
Yeah, just spend an extra couple day or two just to get the vibe of the city, because residency is actually long, and want to spend it in a place that you like and is a good. Those trips are up come in the future, hopefully, if the pandemic goes away soon, hopefully. But yeah, let us know where you've gone to travel and where you're planning to go next, and also share some travel hacks that you guys know and personally use, because that will help us and also the people listening, and we'd love to hear from you guys, and share your experience as well.
All right, see ya guys.
Thanks again for listening.
Thank you again guys for listening to the Twin Dragons podcast. If you guys want to know more about a topic or want us to do a specific video, let us know in the comments below.
And please like and subscribe if you want to help support us. Keep a lookout on our social media accounts so that you can keep up to date with any new episodes that come out and get connected. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.